G'day friends, please excuse my croaky voice. I'm just having one of those really interesting mornings where I've been speaking with a number of people, having conversations that just intrigue me so much. They actually tap into me. As I coach other people, I'm kind of coaching myself at the same time. That's this intriguing part of what I do, because my lived experience as a junior reporter back in the late 90s was such a visceral one of having to show up and floundering at it for years, right? Like a long time, floundering. That whenever I talk to other people about it and get to the raw parts of it, what are you avoiding, what are you relying on, what's serving you well and what's not. When we delve into those kind of spaces, it reminds me of how I relied for so many years on that idea of a performative appearance on video, of really thinking about your breathing techniques, your voice modulation. Kind of ironic talking about that now, isn't it? Of your posture, of memorizing scripts, of doing all of these things that you think that's the good preparation to be doing, and it really kind of doesn't serve people well, because it ends up making your on-camera persona, your seat of authority, foundation. It ends up making it quite narrow in its ability to connect with people, because people just want authentic connection, which is kind of, I mean that in the true sense of the word. Becoming a bit of a cliche to talk about authenticity, because obviously in the world of AI it's an area where people are going to stand out more and more. So how to be your authentic self in how you show up on video. It's the same for how you show up on stage, on live TV, on all sorts of other contexts. And when we do one of two things, I see typically, and it's what I did for a very long time. I either got myself into a position where I just had to avoid going on video, where I wasn't able to show up with any level of authenticity, where I wasn't able to connect with people on any real level. And so I would try to avoid going on camera, or where I felt like I had things together and was doing it right. When I was able to just remember all of the techniques that my voice coach and those who were doing the media training with me had asked me to think about, where I breathe, how I held my shoulders, all of this sort of stuff. The kind of thing that can come naturally to you when you're in a good place and when you're well prepared to show up as yourself. But friends, and this is what I've just been talking about with a number of clients in the last hour or so, here on a beautiful Friday morning in New York, watching the city. The city that never sleeps. I mean, really, I had to wait for my coffee. I'm not complaining. They slept last night, which is okay. They're allowed to sleep. But just watching the city wake up here, getting ready for a busy day, and thinking in not very long this Times Square is going to be jam-packed with people. Every single one of them with a story to share. But really the question for all of us is, how are we going to show up? And that's the work that I love to do with clients, with usually C-suite leaders anywhere in the world, to enable them to show up authentically on video. And it more often than not is about social media, but increasingly people are seeing the ability to save time in other areas, like with responding to emails, to use video messaging for strategic internal comms as an alternative. Anyway, that's kind of getting into the nitty-gritty of what Project V helps people to do just with their smartphone. I really just wanted to share that, how touched I am that, what I'm doing for other people isn't just something I'm asking them to do without doing it myself. I still reflect on all this myself, how I can rely on techniques and strategies that just keep me from being real in the way that I show up. Let's take a sip. It's been a really busy week this week, and I may have overdone it. My voice has certainly started to started to give out last night, so I'm taking it easy today as much as I can. But this is what I love about it. This is not just a process that I've kind of stumbled across and gone, let's see how well this goes, see how it flies. Friends, this changes dramatically for those who trust the process, trust me with this, and for those who lean into it thoroughly. This changes how you show up on video. This helps people to avoid being invisible, to staying in the margins, to avoid minimizing themselves, to just leave it up to other people to tell the story, to go on video if they really have to. Like if the CEO tells them to do it, they will. If the board expects it of them, like they can make themselves do it. Friends, is that you? Like, are you in that space where you really don't want to show up? You'd really just rather avoid it? Be curious about that. Why is that the case? And this is what we explore right at the start of the coaching work that I do with people, a month at a time, anywhere in the world. You have access to my coaching platform, and I send you tailored video feedback wherever I am in the world over WhatsApp, give you that response. But within a very short period of time, we see dramatic professional development happening for people where they change how they show up, where they are able to be more of themselves than they've ever been before on video. It means that when you watch the video back later, it's not like you've entered this new space of being an influencer where you're now all about celebrity and how good am I, and now I'm going to make a career out of being this video person. But it's about being able to just show up authentically as yourself, to be able to do things first, second take. It's not complicated, it's not stressful, it doesn't require heavy scripting. It's just about you showing up as you are, even on your less than best days, like for me today. Where am I drawing on for the strength to do this? It's just to speak very calmly with you about what I'm noticing, the joy that I'm feeling right now. That the challenges I experienced for about 5 years, if my memory serves me correctly, 5 years of having to show up every day that my bosses would let me go on camera, because there were times where they sidelined me when I was struggling, when I wasn't able to perform well. They'd have me doing other shifts in the newsroom. And so it was really about learning how to tap into that authentic space. And for me, it came through the mentoring of a senior reporter in the crime space, whose name happened to be Harry Potter. For those in Sydney, they'll remember, in fact, probably a lot of people in Australia from that era in the 80s and 90s will remember. Before the boy wizard, there was the veteran crime reporter. And he really helped me, not in terms of any performative voice lessons or techniques, or in fact, he took the shifted the focus for me right away from all of that and just put it back onto what's the story that you're wanting to share. And now, what that actually did for me was help for me to relax away from the techniques that weren't serving me well. And it helped me to put my focus mentally in a different place, where I was able to think about the real purpose behind the piece that I was recording. And typically for me in news, they were, anywhere between 12 and 20 seconds. You had a very short window of time to connect with the audience or not. And every word you said mattered. Visually, everything mattered. If there was any distraction that was going to, in a short clip like that, it was going to really water down your message. So I was carrying a lot. As in my early 20s, mid-20s, it took me many, many years to shift the focus away from the performative kind of media training techniques that a lot of corporates have, and how to actually be authentic. So you might be in the marketing role, you might be a CMO, you might be or in HR, you might be encouraging your executives to be authentic on camera, and you've spent a lot of money already on media training and the like, and it's kind of not really giving you all of the results that you were hoping it would. In fact, you can see how it is counterproductive, because it's almost making, rather than helping people to relax more, it's helping them to stress about some aspects of it more. Ironically, they're the aspects that will change how they look and sound, but getting that right is sometimes a barrier that is insurmountable, because you're asking people to do all of these things but relax at the same time and don't think about doing any of them. But do them, but don't think about doing them. Very, very hard to do it. That's why even professional newsreaders can sound like they just get that speech pattern in their voice that you don't really hear what they're saying. You feel the authority and the importance, the gravitas of the way they're presenting, but you don't connect with what they're saying. And that's why it's so refreshing. Particularly, I could point to examples over the years where I've heard elected representatives really connect well with an audience. And yes, they can have an authority and a sense of purpose that really drives them. But it's not their title that they're resting on. It's their conviction about the work that they're speaking about that really carries that connection. And this is what I've floundered with for many, many years. Project V, it's Roman numeral V. Yeah, it's project video, sure. But Project V for 5 years, because that's what I'll save you and more. I mean, I got there in 5 years, not because of the amount of time it took, but because of the shift in focus. And I guess that's really what Project V is about, is a shift in focus for you. It's the coaching I can give you in a very short period of time. That is a one-off investment in your professional development that will change forever how you show up. And the more you invest in it, in terms of your emotional availability, all of your cognitive processes you bring to the table, the more you invest in that space, the bigger the changes are, the more dramatic they are, the faster they happen, and the longer they stay with you. So here I am, full of gratitude, despite I feel like my voice might be coming back a little. I will definitely be resting it today. Thankful for a massive week. Really incredible connections with people. Really thankful for just the insights that I feel have resonated in this last hour. As I've been able to open up and be a bit more real with people about my own journey and how that's exactly what I'm seeing in them. That's the shift. That's what's changed. That's what I'm seeing change for them, or it's the change that can happen for them. Sometimes it is the encouragement to keep going with what feels uncomfortable. And I see all sorts of resistance in people too. And I want to honour that resistance, because the resistance that people have to some of the work that we do in Project V is just their subconscious trying to keep them safe, as it has done their whole life. There are things that we feel and believe have worked well. But in everything in life, sometimes it's those things that we think are helping us to perform better are actually the very things that are holding us back. I remember going for a walk past a beach in Sydney, and I saw an old rusty anchor. It was about as, it came up to my waist, so I went and posed next to it. I thought, oh, here we go. Here's a beautiful metaphor that, the things that we think are keeping us safe can actually just be dragging us down and holding us back, like a boat anchor, an old rusty anchor. So friends, let's have a conversation. Let's chat about how are you finding it? I've had extraordinary results with people who've been doing media for a very long time already, who've changed the way they show up. People around them have said, you've got a level of confidence we've not seen before. And it's not a confidence, it's a capacity to show up and connect with people that shifts dramatically. That's the secret sauce of all of this. That's the beauty of it, the simplicity of it. And at the same time, it's quite profound. I guess that's really what I'm aware of this morning. That the struggle I had for so long in my life that helped me to stay feeling small and insignificant and like I was never going to make it in the TV world. I was barely a couple of years into the biggest opportunity I could have imagined in a major metro newsroom, back in an era when people didn't get jobs in metropolitan newsrooms straight out of university. And yet there I was, because of the journey I'd been on, starting off as a sound recorder, the experience I'd had and the connections I'd made. There were people who were willing to give me an opportunity in that space. But where did that opportunity get to? I was in danger, really, of losing it, of not being able to make it. They talk about if you can make it here in New York, you can make it anywhere, right? You can make it there, you can make it anywhere. What is it that helps you to make it or not? The nub of it that I see consistently with professionals on some of the TV channels on the the signs behind me here in Times Square, what makes them really effective as communicators is their ability to show up authentically and connect with people. And when they rely on the things that they might have learned in journalism school or the performative techniques that they think help them, and it's quite often what we notice is what professionals embrace when it comes to media training. If they rely on that, it kind of just limits their ability to really be effective as communicators. So I'm just glad that my journey, the struggles that I had for all those years, is now able to genuinely serve people and help them to show up in a new way, in a new space, not with a new version of themselves, but without the old versions of themselves clouding their connection with the audience. And I love as well that it not only changes how people do video, live TV, press conferences, speaking on stage, changes how people show up in front of other people. Where's your power coming from? What's your authority coming from? Where's your sense of purpose, your personality? What's shaping how you show up on video? That's what I really enjoy working in that space with people. Anyway, thanks for taking the time to listen to this. I've really enjoyed sharing these thoughts and this awareness that I've got this morning as I watch the city now wake up and come to life. And as more things start happening around me, people are getting on with their day. They're preparing for their day ahead. As I reflect on my clients preparing for their on-camera performances, how they show up. Let's talk.